Good morning, beautiful humans, or at least it's morning for me. I just finished doing my skincare, getting ready, got some gas, and now I am out at the beach. This is my view this morning. Welcome, my name is Jordan Sparks. I just document my van life experience and living in my 2009 Dodge Grand Caravan. People are way too comfortable standing around completely butt-ass naked at the gym. Welcome back to another episode of Van Life. Wow, what a glorious sunshiny day, you guys. It is like plus 16 Celsius. I hit up the gym earlier this morning, had a shower, the curls are curling, and I'm gonna go meet up with my friend Kaylee. Skibbity toilet. We are at, is it Landon's Bay? Or what's this called? Landon's Bay. Oh, I can't even see. Oh yeah, that's what it said. Thousand Islands National Park. Skibbity toilet. I'm pretty sure if I jumped, if I had a good enough head start, I could get all the way to like the bridge. I got so used to not vlogging anymore for a couple weeks because of the microphone on my camera, but we are back. I am outside of the Planet Fitness right now, and I'm thinking of just going to work on some music and dancing today. Have a day for myself, you know? So I took my medication and I poured my trauma out on some sad-eyed middle-aged man's overpriced leather couch. See my fucking face. I am just down at St. Lawrence Park this morning and the curls are curling. Like, look at the sunlight. But, it is only like plus 15 today, and it is absolutely baking inside my van like an oven. And I'm like, what's gonna happen in the summer? I'm not personally sure what my plan is. I was thinking of going towards Toronto and hanging out in the GTA area for like the summer and working in the film industry. But I would also love to just get my passport and go south to the States, but also maybe not for the summer. I don't know. Also, people often comment like how I can make money or like different income streams that I can do while I live in a van. So I figured in today's video, I would talk about how I actually make my money to afford traveling / nomadic lifestyle. So essentially, I am baking to death because it is so hot in here today. I'm sure that I could go somewhere and be like under the shade, but too lazy right now. Anyways, so my biggest income stream currently at the moment is YouTube. It fluctuates from time to time and like depending on where I'm at geographically and like what season it is. So essentially I make YouTube AdSense revenue on my main channel, and the way that ad revenue works on YouTube is you are paid for the ads that they place in front of and in between your videos. So that is how I make money on YouTube. And also I make sometimes a little bit of affiliate income on my main channel as well, and that's basically from people that click on any links from anything that I might have talked about in one of my videos. And then if you purchase it, say on Amazon, or like I have a couple different other products where I have links directly from the company, then I might get like a small percentage of commission from the sale. And then I also have sponsorships. I very rarely take sponsorships on my channel. I find that with sponsorships, if you're a small channel, you need to do a lot of outreach and like actually emailing companies that you want to work with and pitching to them, and I don't do a lot of that, so I don't do a lot of sponsorships. And those are my main YouTube incomes. And then I also make income from acting, so I'm a union actor. So basically whenever I do any kind of role or any kind of background work, extra work, dancing, singing, any kind of special skills, anything that I do on set, then I'm paid for that. And because I'm in the union, there's like wage control, so there are minimums that I have to be paid for all of my work on set. That being said, the film industry, we're normally filming in between like March, April is when it starts to pick up, and then going towards like the fall, the filming of shows starts to die off here in Canada around like October being the very latest. But essentially the biggest working months are like June, July, and August, like right in the smack dab of summer, and that's mostly in Toronto. I personally worked in different areas along the 401 last year, and even during the writer's strike I was still working, so that's cool. But that is my second income stream. I am also a hairstylist, so I went to school for hairstyling back in 2006 through 2009. I was doing my apprenticeship hours and training, so I don't do a lot of clients, but when I do decide to take clients, mostly just friends, then I know we're not going to be bitch clients, because honestly, that's why I didn't like hairstyling, is because a lot of clients just have unrealistic expectations, and I'm a really good hairdresser, not to toot my own horn, but I was like the best in my class, and got awards for that as well, and I've had some of the same clients for like 16 years, so I think that's a testament to my skill set. I just am very particular about who I will accept into my inner circle to work for hairstyling, especially being a neurodivergent person. I don't like anybody in my close inner circle that makes me incredibly uncomfortable or triggered, so we don't do that. And those are my main income sources, I would say. There's other income sources here and there from like online income, or if I decide to take a part-time job, like I did have a part-time job for most of last year. But yeah, those are the ways that I make money, but I think that that's it.
And we have to compete against the Candy Apples doing a non-lyrical routine. It's really important that we win this week because we're off to LA next week.
So I'm just watching some good old-fashioned reality TV. I'm just gonna do a little bit of skincare, brush my teeth. Then it is skibbity toilet bedtime. Officially been 2 months since I started van life, so I figured that I would film an update for you guys today. My phone, as you guys probably have realized through many of my past videos, has been an absolute basket case when it comes to recording. At this point, the microphone basically just doesn't work at all, unless for some reason when I'm using phone calls or when I'm using TikTok, it seems to work perfectly fine. Right now, I'm filming on my Nikon DSLR camera. I actually got this camera back in 2014. And this is actually just with the kit lens, and then I'm filming with my Rode microphone. So hopefully this video quality and audio quality is decent, especially for this camera being so old at this point, but it should be good. Probably much better than my cell phone. Anyways, hello. I hope you guys are all doing well, and thank you guys for all of your support on all of my last videos. There's a bunch of new subscribers, so hello. Welcome to all of you guys. Today I am just down at Centene Park in Brockville, and if you've watched some of my past videos, you probably would recognize the park. And it is absolutely gorgeous today. This is the first, like, super, in my opinion, super warm day that we've had so far this year. The wind is gusting. It has been intermittently, literally gusting outside, but it's like plus 15 Celsius today, which is, for a Canadian, warm. So that's been good. I've been in Brockville since my last video, so we haven't been going anywhere recently. I've just been around Brockville. Both of my eyes have been so swollen the last 2 days. I don't know if you can tell. You can probably tell. They look so red to me. But I'm pretty sure it's the polyester fibers off of my big white puffy sweater that I've been wearing. But it could be from the cats. And I went to go visit Kaylee because I am allergic to cats. But I wasn't really, like, interacting with the cats the last 2 days, so I don't know why my eyes have been so swollen. And we're talking super swollen. Like, I took an allergy pill, 2 allergy pills actually. I took some Advil. I was using eye drops, and they were just like, and this entire underneath of my eye was all swollen as well. Doesn't your little heart just break when you see a wild animal that has like some kind of injury, for example? For example, I just saw this little squirrel. Like, this guy only had one eyeball. It was freaking horrible. At this point, I ended up using like an eczema cream underneath my eye because it was just getting so irritated as well. Anyways, so 2 months of van life. Yesterday, an older lady came up to me and brought me some butter tarts in this tin, and she came and drove like directly up to my vehicle and got out, and I was like, okay, that's weird. And then she came and knocked on the window, so I was like, okay, because I was in the back making coffee, like about to start filing my taxes. And she brought me this, and I was like, oh, no, thank you, I'm okay. And she's like, no, like, come on, like, open up the window. Unthreatening old lady that was just out to walk her dog. I think that she saw me parked at St. Lawrence Park a few days in a row and maybe thought that I was, like, struggling, homeless, and needed food or something, but no, that is not the case. I have got a bunch of questions from you guys, and just to, like, clarify, I live in my van by choice. Like, I could be renting an apartment or rent a room somewhere. I don't need to be living in my vehicle. I'm not like destitute. I'm not like struggling. I moved into my vehicle so that I have the freedom so that I can be in a smaller town that's like a more comfortable community where I feel comfortable and like to be when I want to be. And then when I'm working in the film industry or when I'm going to take other opportunities collaborating or working with other artists on dancing, music, or television, film, anything like that, that I can just be closer to Toronto when I need to be. And the thing with the film industry is you don't, especially, like, I'll use Canada for an example because I don't work in the States. When you're working in Toronto, for example, in the Toronto film industry, you don't film in Toronto. You will be filming within the Toronto hub, within the entire GTA and surroundings. So, like, it could be a couple hours drive from the center of Toronto, and that's why when you're working in the film industry, you need to be able to move around all the time anyways, and it just makes no sense to me to have an apartment in Toronto when I'm going to be driving several hours to work in other films and stuff like that when I'm going to be. Or to have an apartment in Brockville, for example, where I am right now, wouldn't make any sense because Brockville's like 3.5 hours from Toronto. So if I signed a lease and had an apartment here, then I'd be traveling like 3.5, 4 hours to go work in Toronto during the film season. So that is why I'm in my vehicle. I have an income, I have food, I have shelter, I could go rent a hotel or anything if I wanted. We are fine. We're doing just fine. For those of you guys that want to support, because people have been saying that they want to make donations or that these are full-length movies and that I should be getting paid. I'm not monetized here on this YouTube channel, but if you want to make a donation, I have started a Patreon, or I don't know. But yeah, I do have an income. I run my other YouTube channel, which I've been running since that one I started in 2014, but I have been on YouTube since 2006, and my other channel is monetized, and I don't make a ton of money, but I make enough money to live and to support myself, so that is how I make money. For those of you guys that are more curious, I could make an entire video breakdown of all of my different sources of income that are related to YouTube and stuff like that, but yes, in case you watch my channel and you're wondering if you need to go drop off food or anything, I appreciate it. Very sweet, but I'm not struggling or anything like that. There are homeless people that have no shelter or anything in every community, and there are shelters, there are food banks, there's lots of different places. If you feel like you would like to make a donation to somebody who's struggling, you can help those people. But yeah, I'm doing just totally fine. And I wanted to answer some of your guys' questions because I've got a lot of questions here on this YouTube channel that I haven't got to answer or got around to commenting back. So I just wanted to answer some of them now. So let's see. Moira Baines 3848 says, "If I was you, just clear it all and start from scratch. UK, Scotland, Aberdeen. I love your videos." So she, I'm assuming a she, sorry if it's the wrong gender, is but they are referring to clearing out everything in my vehicle, all of my belongings, and to that I would say it's easier said than done. I have every single thing that I still own to this day in my vehicle, which it definitely adds up a lot when you put all of your belongings in one vehicle. But that being said, I've been moving back and forth across Canada for over 10 years, so I already have very few belongings compared to most people. Like, if you put all of my belongings in a bedroom, the bedroom would look empty. If you put them all in a vehicle, it's very squished. But I've been decluttering, I've been organizing and donating a bunch of my stuff over the last 2 months as well, but we've got down to a lot of belongings that I'm just not going to part with. For example, stuff like this. This used to belong to my dad. I love this jacket. I have a bunch of antique suitcases in the back that I would never part with, and just things that were my dad's, and just things that I've already sorted through all of his stuff and got it down to like 2% of his belongings that I have kept, so it's not like I've kept everything. But yes, I do have things from my dad who passed and my brother that passed that I'm not going to part with, and my own belongings I've already sorted down literally 90% of them, and the 10% that's left, I've been going through all of my clothing and wearing it one last time and deciding if it fits. And I enjoy it, and I want to keep it. I'm going to keep it, but I've been going through like one item at a time and trying to just go through literally my entire wardrobe, and then donate everything that I don't feel like fits or that I don't love anymore. Normally, I would be doing my laundry. Like, sometimes I would do a load of laundry like every day when I'm living in an apartment, and all of my laundry is clean and organized at all times, and then I have everything as an option. But I've just been keeping too much clothing. Like, some clothing to me is just sentimental, so I've kept it since I was like 16, and so a lot of that I've given away over the last month because I'm just like, we don't need to keep clothing just because we've had it forever. Some of it still fits, some of it was still good, but I was like, it's just time to let it go. It's been like 16 years for some of that stuff. But yeah, I'm in the process still of getting rid of a bunch of my stuff, to answer your question, and a lot of it I just will never be parting with. JJ Kale 1976 says, "Is everything okay with you? I hope you didn't freeze. I'm waiting for the next video." Hi, yeah, everything is great with me. I have been working on guitar pretty much every single day. I've got all of my calluses back on my fingers. I've been working on some music and writing some more music and working on singing some covers. So that's what I've been doing for most of the days lately, and just been working on my year-end taxes and, super fun, exciting stuff like that. The weather is getting a lot nicer the last couple of days, except for it's been very intermittent. It'll go from like a nice day like this back down to -10, -15 and freezing, and pretty much every night has been very cold. So I have been freezing a bit at night, but overall I'm doing just fine. And this is that next video, so hi, thank you for watching, and thank you for all of your comments and support lately on the YouTube channel. My next comment is from Moira Baines as well, and they say, "Do you not have anything for your windows?" I have mentioned this in a couple videos before, but I do have curtains. You can probably see behind me. These are my draw across curtains, as well as I have custom cutout thermal tech window coverings that go in the back windows. I don't use them all the time anymore, but they definitely help on really freezing cold nights or when I want to have my privacy in here. I just don't particularly care. My windows are tinted in the back, and I don't care if people know that I'm in here at this point. I've just become a lot more comfortable with the van lifestyle. Moira says, be careful. Thank you. Robin Price, 4877, says, how long does your van take to start on freezing cold mornings? Does it take longer when it hasn't been started for several days? She starts immediately, unless you mean like warms up. Like I've had one night where I accidentally drained the battery because I had my Jackery plugged in and charging while I was driving around, and then I forgot to unplug it and went to bed, so I woke up and my battery was dead. And for that, I just went into the Walmart and bought like a battery charger, so I used my Jackery to recharge my battery for my vehicle, and I have a video about that on my channel as well, and how that went. But aside from that, no, she turns over immediately, even on the cold days, and to warm up, maybe like 5 minutes on a really cold day, but otherwise just like, I don't know, a couple minutes and she's good. And does it take longer when it hasn't been started for several days? I start my vehicle every single day, especially here in the winter in Canada. I would never leave my vehicle purposely for more than a couple of days without starting it, unless I was like flew down to Alberta or something and I wasn't here and had to leave my vehicle, just because with the freezing cold temperatures and not having a block heater or having the vehicle plugged in, I wouldn't want to risk the battery dying. This battery I just bought in the summer, so it's probably not going to happen anyways, but that can happen on really cold days. So I hope that answers your question. Road Through Grace says, you've got a great voice. Continue singing in your videos, please. Well, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. My voice has been one of my biggest insecurities over my entire life, but it's also my biggest passion. And opening up on the internet with singing can be ruthless sometimes. People don't have the kindest things to say, so I definitely appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much. And too bad about the mold, and watch the fire dancing. Yes, the fire dancing can be dangerous in when you're using the burner inside the vehicle. And the mold, I just tore out that aspect, threw it out, cleared that up immediately. Haven't had a problem since, so that's good. And basically they say love Brenda and Blue, which is their dog. Well, thank you so much, Brenda. I appreciate the comment. My next comment is also from Road Through Grace. They say, I like those videos. You did an awesome job embellishing them, and your dancing made me smile. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, my dancing, I was doing, I think it was the Hillary Duff dance. My intent is to get a passport to travel to Canada from Florida, they said. I've seen many videos of areas in Canada that I would love to see, and maybe I can eventually travel to Norway and Sweden one day. Be safe in your journeys, and maybe one day I'll see you on the road, Brenda and Blue. Well, I think that would be an amazing thing to have as a goal, especially when you're from Florida. I have been to Florida a few times. I would love to go back. I love Florida. But it is definitely way, way different everywhere in Canada. The closest at all, climate-wise, or like ecosystem, environmentally, at all in Canada would be like down in the Soyuz, the Okanagan, so like Kelowna, Penticton, way out west in British Columbia. But in terms of like looking for a different kind of landscape and to experience things that you've never experienced, from Florida to Canada, pretty much anywhere in Canada, it will be a totally different environment for you. Florida is beautiful. We definitely don't have little lizards running around anywhere in Canada, but I wish. I would love to go to Florida as well, and it would be awesome to cross the paths someday. That would be very cool. As for Norway and Sweden, I would love to go over to Europe. I've never been, but I would love to go over there and see Norway and Sweden one day as well. Granny Noodles sent some hearts. Thank you, Granny Noodles. And Ben Cura 6503 says, YouTube dropped your video into my first time viewing queue from California. Not sure, guessing you're from Canada. By choice, I prefer mobile lifestyle. That's very cool. I've never been to California. I would absolutely love. That's been on my bucket list. One of the number one places. I would say the number one place I wanted to go my entire life, but still one of my number one places that I would love to go to. They say, government classifies as homeless if you don't have a physical address, I think, yes. Love Planet Fitness, both workouts 24/7 and showers/amenities. I have found some Planet Fitnesses that do close, some that are like 24/5. So they're not actually open at all times, but most of them I have found are 24/7. The one here in Brockville is great. The water temperatures are warm for showers, and I usually just go like later at night when nobody's there, and it's been great for me. So I agree. Planet Fitness has been great for me as well. Burger King app Wednesday Impossible plant-based Whopper $3. That would definitely not be here in Canada. I wish. You're not going to find any Whopper for $3 on any day of the week from any app, any deal, any coupon. But that would be great. Don't think that our currency is worth that much here in Canada compared to the States. Priority declutter, more room for sleep, etc. Yeah, that's definitely true. That's what we're working on. And yes, DIY coffee, caffeine like my sister, instant Nestle. I'm a coffee snob. I'm not a big fan of instant coffee. If I could be using something else, I would be. I have a espresso machine in the back, and I threw out my coffee maker. I donated it right as I was moving into van life, but I would need a different Jackery power system in order to power my espresso machine. So for now, it is instant coffee. And I had a French press that I bought earlier, but it shattered. I kind of figured it would, but oh well. And then they said, should you find yourself in California, reach out for all the go-tos for traveling. Good luck and be safe. And like you, call tow truck for change of a tire. Thank you. I would love to be in California one day, so maybe I'll hit you up. We'll see what happens. Yonda Fletcher says, you look like Hugh Jackman. And thank you. I've been getting that a lot more lately in my 30s, especially when I have the beard, which I shaved off right now. But that's who I always thought that I would grow up to look like out of any celebrity doppelganger, because I always got Luke Perry growing up, and Adrian Brody. People always compared me to those two, especially whenever I'm on set, like actually working in film. People tell me I look like Luke Perry all the time. And I was on Riverdale. We were both on Riverdale. We're in one shot together, like in one scene, before he passed away. Rest in peace. But Hugh Jackman, I've been getting that a lot more lately. I just thought that we had similar features, like the nasolabial folds and the same eye color, and then with the beard, same hairline. So, kind of interesting, but yeah, thank you for that. Robin McDonald says, I saw the falls in the winter. Also, it was beautiful but very icy where we are. Good luck on your journey. And Robin is referring to Niagara Falls, and it was absolutely gorgeous in the winter. Definitely highly recommend. Totally different than in the summer. But I actually was able to get right up to the ledge and look right over at the falls in the winter. Compared to when you go in the summer, there are so many tourists that you'll never get that close up. Granny Noodles again sends more hearts. Thank you. Users HH something says, you take a hard situation and make it happen. That is a real deal person. Keep moving forward in your life. Thank you. And they said, most likely looking for food, referring to the coyotes. We have them all over the USA, and they can be dangerous or aggressive. Be careful on your travels. Yeah, we have them all over Canada as well. I just don't usually see them in a Walmart parking lot, and that one was the size of a wolf. I don't see them that big, even out in colder climates, where I'm from, where they have so much to eat out in the wilderness, and they still had never seen them that big, and they'll eat people's cats and house pets. They're wild. Some words of wisdom, not hate towards you and your lifestyle. You have an older auto, drive less, it will last longer. That's true. That's why I'm stationary here in Brockville. There's work lots that pays pretty well where you do DoorDash or other food delivery services. If you are between jobs, that pays about $150 to $250 or more a day. Just a thought. I have actually done DoorDash before, and Instacart, but I'm working online right now, so I'm not looking for a job at the moment. Have an income, but thank you. They said, just a thought, no disrespect to you, but organize your van, pitch things that are not needed, cutting down on junk. It looks messy, and that is why you have problems finding things. Yeah, that's what we've been working on the last couple months. This video here that you watched, I think, was at the very beginning of the van life journey. But yeah, if you've watched the other videos, we've been working on donating all of the stuff. Except for, like I was saying earlier in the video, a lot of my dad's belongings that I'm keeping. You have a nice personality, are interesting to watch. Wish you the best in your travels. That above is a wake-up call. Thank you. On acting, dancing jobs, lots of folks not working now also do a secondary job to help you cover your way. Yeah, that's what I have my, oop, I have the YouTube channel income, and like I said, I'll make another video talking about all of my other income streams if anybody is interested one day. I do believe, just like this person, it's super important to have multiple income streams, especially if you're going to be living on the road, traveling, living in a vehicle. You aren't going to be living for free. It is definitely just as expensive as living in an apartment most of the time. Um, so I would definitely figure out how you're going to pay for things if you're planning on going to be moving into the van life yourself, whether that's going to be savings or having alternative income, or yeah, you could do things like DoorDash and stuff. In order to make $150 a day, you'd have to be DoorDashing all day long, anywhere in Canada. But which would, for me, it wasn't worth it driving in this vehicle. Doing DoorDash, I spent more money on gas than I was making in tips, but maybe it's different in some areas. People don't tip well here in Canada on DoorDash. Um, they said, yeah, for the acting jobs and dancing jobs, those are very rare. Um, I've been working in the film industry since I was like 19, so um, I definitely have like a realistic sense of how often you're going to be working in film. If you're just doing background, it starts picking up around March, April, and up until the later months of the fall is the like busier film season, and there can be a ton of work during that season. But in terms of like principal work, and the last couple of years because of the strike for the writers' strike, and before that it was COVID, there's been a ton of um, bumps in the road in terms of the entire film industry. This season should be better, but we'll see. Um, you cannot afford to just drive around and clock miles on an older auto. Um, yeah, I guess it depends. It depends how much you consider like driving around, or if you're going to be like driving back and forth around the country, for example, and for how many kilometers are on your vehicle, or miles. Um, But yeah, definitely you need to take care of your vehicle, especially when your vehicle becomes your home. It's certainly important to keep even better care of your vehicle and stay up on your oil changes and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I agree. Set up a PayPal or other means for folks to donate to you on your travels. Ask for a cup of coffee. That would be $5 to $10. This is a movie and should be paid for the videos. Take care and be safe. Thank you. Yeah, I've started a Patreon. If you want to sign up for that, it's like I think you can sign up for like $2 a month or something like that for one of the tiers, and you could support that way. I don't have a GoFundMe or anything because I haven't set up anything like that. But yeah, I do have an income, multiple income streams, so that's how I fund this lifestyle. Um, and thank you for your comment. Tom E. Hill 2713 says, I've been planning to do this for retirement life, like take a transit type and convert it, or just try a Dodge Mini and parking lot or campsite hop. That would be awesome. The transit vans are very, very popular at this point in van life. I've seen tons of them, especially online. That seems to be one of the most popular vehicles. And the Dodge Caravan, this is a great option for people that want to be stealth, or if you want to keep your spending to a low. A transit van costs a lot more money in terms of the upkeep, and if you need to visit a mechanic or anything, as well as the gas, obviously, because it's a much bigger vehicle. But the perks to having a transit van is you can actually stand up in them, like stand around, make your food at your kitchen counter, things like that. And depending on your height, as long as you're not like 7 feet tall, there's room enough to use it in that way. Whereas if you're living in a car or a minivan or anything, you have to do everything seated. There's not enough room to actually fully stand up. Unless you're like under 4 feet tall, then it would be perfect for you. And thank you for the comment. Disco Mood says very informative, great tips. Thank you. JJKL 1976 says 100% stealth. When we need to be, definitely. I did make a video about stealth van life, which is the one that they're commenting on. So if you want to know how I live in the vehicle without anybody knowing, or how to be more stealth if you want to do this yourself. There is some great tips in that video. So Dupold says, nobody's watching you, nobody's following you. Stop role-playing as a hot chick living alone in a car. Literally nobody wants you. Okay. I don't know who pissed in your Cheerios this morning, but people are watching. That's who I'm talking to right now. I have 70,000 followers on my other YouTube channel, so there's people watching. I don't know where the stop role-playing as a hot chick. It's not even just a chick, but like stop role-playing as a hot chick. Do I look like I'm trying to be a hot chick? I don't think so. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed the piss in your Cheerios. Neuroverse789 said, just a little tip to start utilizing your whole gym membership. What I do when I'm scared or just don't know what to do in the gym, or when I'm just scared of being embarrassed or something, I'll just either get a yoga mat and stretch on that, or you can just stretch on the floor, or you can just stretch standing up. If you also want to check out machines, but you're a little nervous to do that, pick a machine that you want to try out looks simple, and then just start doing stretches by the machine and put your stuff on it that way. You don't have to immediately get on it, but you can mentally prepare yourself while you're stretching by the machine. Also, you can literally just start hanging. Handing is such a good exercise, and stretching, it decompresses your spine, and some secret holistic doctors use hanging to heal their patients. I do think decompression of the spine is super important. As for the gym membership and working out in there, it's mostly like treadmills and cardio and stuff that I find in Planet Fitness. And I do so much walking and hiking and stuff that I have my gym membership there actually more for showering. I do have dumbbells and other workout stuff in the vehicle, but I'm just not really a workout in the gym kind of person. It's not my thing. I think those are great tips, though. Thank you for sharing. If I do decide to go actually work out in the gym someday, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I just prefer to be outside at all times. So when I'm working out or getting exercise, I prefer to try and make it either fun by like taking a dance class, gymnastics or something, but even then I prefer to do that outside too. I'm just not a like indoor working out person. But I think those are all great tips in terms of like the anxiety and everything like that. Lori Burchell, this is my auntie, says, you've got to get some real food into you, not so much fast food, my sparkling nephew. I do have to actually eat real food. You don't see it on camera, though, because it's not so exciting, so I don't really share that. I usually just share me eating fast food and that on camera. So yeah, it looks like I just eat a lot of garbage, but I probably wouldn't be staying this tiny if I ate that much garbage. But thank you, auntie, for thinking of me. She says we have the same coffee taste, and you need to keep the spare tire. Yeah, I did find a place to keep the spare tire back there so that I can keep my, I hated carrying the spare tire in the front seat, because that way it was so hard to move around if I needed to, like, bring a passenger around or anything like that. And Joanne Marie says, glad to have discovered your channel. I do not like to go do things by myself either. Definitely relate. Except for grocery shopping, I don't mind. Yeah, sometimes, like, shopping is one of those things that I'm like, okay, I need to get this done. I don't need anybody in my way. I don't need any distractions, or I'm going to forget everything. Or, like, I don't want somebody tagging along at the grocery store, and them, like, I don't want to feel rushed, like I'm dragging somebody along with me on my errands kind of thing. But aside from that, like, doing exciting, fun things, I hate to go do it by myself and not having somebody else to share the memory with, for the most part. Vanzy Wanzy says, will you be moving from that location soon? I worried now about that stupid weirdo that is watching you. Vinegar for mold. I just went through the same thing as you. Oh, the mold problem is common, I guess. That definitely sucks. That's unfortunate to hear. Luckily, I got a handle on the mold before it got out of hand, so that is good. In terms of the creepy dude that was watching me, I haven't been there in a couple weeks just because that nature reserve is like much further out. So I've just been hanging out in a different place most days lately, and it's a lot closer to the town, but I haven't been sleeping out at that place or anything. None of these are like my permanent place because I'm constantly moving around all day long. So yeah, not worried about him. Haven't seen him since because I haven't been out there at all. But in case you're watching this video and you're wondering who I'm talking about, there's just this creepy stalker guy that was creeping on me in pretty much every day that I was out at Mac Johnson. But thank you, Vanzy Wenzy, for your comment. But I think those are all the comments that I'm going to answer here for now. I am currently in Brockville, Ontario, Canada at St. Lawrence Park. It is an absolutely gorgeous park, and it is a beautiful sunny day. I'm just watching the sunset right now. So this video is a little bit time sensitive because once the sunlight is gone, I don't have much light to film anymore. So the first thing that I wanted to experience or would love to experience in van life that I have yet to experience would be traveling down south to the United States. So right now I don't have a passport, so that would have to include getting my passport application and taking the photos, applying for that and getting that approved first. But I would also like to get my entire van completely just stripped down as most organized and neat and orderly as possible so that when traveling across the border that it can be the most seamless transition possible. I have heard of a lot of people that had no problems crossing the border, that when they went to the border that they just gave them their passport, and that it's important to have a plan, like a very not rigid necessarily, but a very specific plan as to where you're going that you can tell them, and to not be nervous or anything about that. So be honest with your travels and what you have in the vehicle, and to not be carrying anything across the border that you shouldn't be. So mostly I'd say like drugs, illegal ammunition, or like fruits and vegetables, things like that. Yeah, things that you shouldn't be taking across the border. But I would love to experience van life in the United States. It seems that they have a whole massive community of van lifers down there, especially down in like Arizona. And I would love to experience what it is like to travel through the United States, specifically because I've only ever been to Manhattan, New York. I've been to Ogdensburg, New York for the day, but for New York, I've only been there for 2 days, like in Manhattan. I drove there on a bus from Brockville, actually where I am right now, and that was over 10 years ago at this point, but that was a lovely trip. And I've been to Florida. I flew to Orlando, and it was just a very tourist experience. So I went to Disney World and I went to Universal. I guess I've actually been to Orlando twice. So the first time I just went to Universal. The second time I went to Disney World and Universal. But I have never got to experience the rest of Florida, and I believe that that is about the extent of my travels throughout the United States. So for Canada, I've seen most of the country, east to west, north to south, but for the United States, there are so many places left that I've been wanting to see for my entire life. I've always wanted to go see California. I've always wanted to go explore the entire west coast of the United States and the entire East Coast, really. I used to live in Vancouver, and I was right across from Seattle, and unfortunately I never went over there either when I was living there. So there's tons of places that I would love to go see. So visiting the United States, major on my bucket list. As well with all of the other content creators, I've seen so many other van lifers throughout the United States, so it would be super cool to go down to the States and to meet some of the other creators that are also living this kind of nomadic alternative lifestyle. So that's a big one for me. And number 2 would be to eventually get a different vehicle or different, I don't know what they're calling them these days, but to have like something where I had better climate control, because I would absolutely love to have a pet. I personally feel like I can survive in any climate in here with the current climate control that I have. I'm good for the really cold nights, even just with the sleeping bag or any kind of heating sources that I use in here. And then as it gets warmer, I'm totally fine being out of the van and doing other activities throughout the day so that I'm not just in the sweltering heat here in my vehicle. But I would love to have a dog. I would love to have a cat, really. I'm allergic to cats. I'm allergic to most dogs, but at least there are some dog breeds that I'm not allergic to, and I would personally love to have a companion on my travels, but I just don't think that it is responsible, and it's not the nicest thing to do to an animal to bring them onto the van life if you don't have, like, a lovely, comfortable way of life for them. So I personally would love to have a small dog, like a Maltese or a Maltese Chihuahua. I love my mom's Maltese Chihuahua. He is my baby. But he's out in Alberta and he lives with my mom, and she would kill me if I tried to take him. So I would love to have my own companion, but yes, it would have to be somewhere where there's climate control, that I could bring him everywhere, and that if I needed to leave him in the vehicle for whatever reason, if it's going to be hot out, that I could leave him with the air conditioning on or whatnot. So I would love to have a pet. That would be my big number two. I just don't think it's responsible at this particular moment in time. And those are the first two big ones. And the third one is just that I would love to be able to find some more private, secluded places. I have yet to find any. Everywhere where I've been sleeping or staying throughout the days has been very commercial, I would say, either very public and in town, or just like very public parks that people go to all the time, or even like nature reserves. Everything has been very, very public. And I just would love to go out. I see other van lifers going to like off-grid campsites and more like boondocking areas where they're able to bring all of their supplies and stay for a week, and just somewhere where I could get out of the van and set up a little camp and be able to like have a fire and play my guitar and practice music and bring out my dot to dance and record some dancing and record some art for you guys, and to not feel like I'm being invasive to everyone in the area if I were to do so. So right now I've been practicing my guitar, but the only time I've been practicing guitar is within the van itself, and it can get pretty cooped up practicing music in such a small space. I also have my keyboard, and I've been practicing keyboard in here as well. But I do have my Dot to Dance, which is a big Marley dance floor that's portable. It's portable, but it is the biggest size, and I can put that on any kind of flat surface, whether it is like dirt, grass, pavement, or even like a carpeted floor or anything like that. But right now it is sitting in the back of the van on the floor, and it levels out the middle of the van with the back of the van for the flooring. But I would love to take it out and actually do some dancing, specifically now that the weather is gorgeous, that we're moving into spring. It is March 8th while I'm recording this, and pretty much all of the snow, except for there's a pile behind me, but pretty much all of the snow in most of this area is all melted, and it is getting to the point where it's nice enough throughout the day that I could be practicing dancing and stuff outside. So those are my goals moving forward in van life. I feel like they're not giant goals. They're pretty simple. And honestly, rig. That's the word that I was looking for a bigger rig other than this van. Anyways, those are my goals. I don't think that they're too big or unrealistic, but even if I have to stay in this van for a year or much longer, it doesn't really matter to me. But if I don't upgrade in rig size, I would eventually also like to have a chemical toilet, I think, because I do hate having to leave wherever I am to go use the bathroom if I'm focused on work and I'm just in my flow state for work for the day. I'm going to be talking about how I poop inside my van. So a question that I often get is, how do I go to the bathroom, whether it is going pee, doing number two, how I go about doing that living in a van. So I'm going to cover all of the different ways that I do that in this video, and I'm going to be using the shovel as a wand. But I'm also going to go over some past methods that I used to use as well. So essentially, when I got this van, I had originally done a no-build conversion that was before I really had practical experience living in this van, and it was based off of all of the van videos that I was watching from people doing van life online on YouTube. And so I had like a gorgeous red curtain here that was like illustrious and shiny, and it used to have a shower bar that I got that went across here, and that was a privacy curtain, and I had a totally different bed setup and everything. But I also wasn't bringing all of my stuff around in my vehicle either. I had it all in storage in my parents' shop back in Alberta at the time. Now I have everything that I own in my vehicle with me everywhere that I go. So essentially with that version, I was taking a lot of tips and tricks that I got from online, and a lot of people were purchasing at the time something called a luggable loo. So it is like a portable bathroom if you haven't heard of it before. But the thing with the luggable loo is it is basically like a, I think, 20-gallon pail with a toilet seat on it. And then you can get liners that are like a biodegradable, I believe, garbage bag that go into the luggable loo inside that pail. And then you have the toilet seat on top, and then you use that as a bathroom. My problem with that is, for one, the luggable loo is insanely expensive for being a toilet seat on top of a bucket. But for two, the luggable loo is also like way too expensive, but it is really big. It's a really big pail, and I just didn't find that was appropriate for me personally in my Dodge Grand Caravan. And so I have seen a lot of people use them, and they look like they would be nice and convenient to have. For me, it would be way too much space. So I've never had a luggable. It's also a full-size toilet. So what I did instead, this is what I used to do that I no longer do, is I went to Canadian Tire and I bought a 10 gallon pail. So it was about half the size. It's almost maybe a little more than double, I think, the size of like an ice cream pail that you would get from the grocery store. And then I went and bought one of those potty training seats that you can get, that you put on top of a regular toilet seat for children to potty train. And it actually turned out that the potty training seat fit perfectly. Like literally they have like a little slot at the bottom so that they fit into your toilet seat. It snugly fit into the pail so that they would interlock, so you wouldn't have to worry about any kind of spillage or anything. And the seat was just big enough personally for me to use. I only ended up using that like once or twice. I literally took this Canadian Tire branded pail that I got for a few dollars, because I wasn't about to spend like $100 or whatever it was for the Logo Blue. Maybe even more than $100. They were insane when I saw them for sale. And I would put little grocery bags like this to line the pail, and I would just put 2 of these, and these are actually scented. They're orange scented. The ones that I had before were green apple scented. I just got them from Dollarama. And I would line the pail with the bags, and then I would put the toilet seat on top of that, and that's what I would do for number 2. Now, for number 1, I would just go outside because I am a guy. And otherwise, if I am not going outside, I also have a cup here. This is my pee cup. For a lot of male solo travelers or people that do van life, you've probably seen people have a pee cup or a pee jug or a pee bottle. And then for women, a lot of the time they have a pee cup and then like a funnel so that they can use the cup to go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, it's more difficult, obviously, to do that as a woman than it is to be a guy. It's a lot easier. That's just a privilege that we have for having a ding dong. But those were some options. I personally ended up giving away the potty training seat to my friend who was potty training her daughter at the time, and I threw out the pail. I don't use that anymore. So what do I do now? Now I use this cup. This is my pee cup, or I go outside, or I just go into the bathroom. This is honestly what I do most often, is I just go into a public bathroom. So for me, I'd say the most common is a Walmart, but sometimes I go into a McDonald's or just anywhere else that I can go. I'll maybe just go grab like a coffee somewhere and then use their bathroom. It's that simple. You don't need to poop multiple times a day, so like going to get so to go in somewhere and grab a coffee once a day and use the bathroom is not the worst thing at all. I personally park at Walmart most nights, so to just go into the Walmart in the morning, I can grab a coffee at the McDonald's, use the bathroom at the Walmart, and I'm good to go. Otherwise, if I am in a emergency situation, I have a few times had to go park somewhere privately, and yes, it's gross, but take literally 2 layers of these plastic bags and then squat over that and do your business, tie it up, and dispose of it where you can dispose of waste. And if not, that is where the shovel comes in. I have never had to use the shovel myself, but I actually got this tip from some van lifers that do more kind of like outback boondocking, and essentially they grabbed a shovel like this, they go out into the woods, dig themselves a little hole. I think that there's like a name for it as well. Do their business in the hole, bury up the little hole so that it can be returned to nature, and that is what they do. So there are also other different options as well. I'll sometimes use a porta potty if I'm out at Mac Johnson where I am today, just to go number two. But other options I've seen are chemical toilets. So they're a lot more expensive, but you can get ones that are like this big, for example, and it's just like a small compact toilet with a regular toilet seat and a regular toilet lid, and inside of it there are chemicals that will help break down your duty, and then you dispose of that where you can dispose of waste. And they have ones that are small, they have ones that are a little bit taller, and I know that these can range in price, but they're all very, very expensive. And keep in mind that you have to keep around chemicals for these. I've seen some other options that are also insanely expensive. Like, we're talking $400 or $500 for a toilet that you bring along camping, or in this case living in a vehicle or an RV or something like that. And that's insane when there's no plumbing involved. It's just like a little plastic toilet. So some other ones that I've seen are very, very small. There's like this red one that's $500, and I believe that it like cycles through. For one, there's the toilet seat, and there's like a little hole, and then there's another hole in the back so that it organizes, let's say, your number one from your number two, and then you can just dump out the water department with the gray water where the pee goes into, and then the rest goes into another area where I believe there's like some kind of cat litter that it mixes in with so that you can keep it in there, and then it doesn't create a smell, and you can dispose of that later. These little contraptions to me are a lot more excessive in terms of cost. Like, I don't make enough money to be spending something like that on a toilet. If there's a brand watching this video and they would like to send me one so that they can change my mind and I can try it out and show it to you guys on video, that would be great. But yeah, I'm not going to be spending my money on that anytime soon. So the lady that brought me the butter tarts the other day just came back, and she brought a bag of stuff. And I'm like, "You're very sweet." I introduced myself. I told her that my name is Jordan, and she told me that her name is Kitty Kelly. But I wish that she would believe me when I tell her that I'm completely fine. Like, I'm not out here destitute. I have my own income. I have my own food. And I have my own money sources. But she doesn't believe me. She's like, "I'm really worried about you." And I'm like, "Thank you for the sweet thoughts, but I honestly, I don't need any handouts." I just don't want to live in an apartment. I'm going to a musical tonight. We bought tickets for 2 shows, actually. One is like a Brockville to Broadway show that's tonight, and one is the New Faces performance that is going to be later. Super excited about that. But she brought me a bag of chips, a roll of toilet paper, a little tin. Maybe it's some more butter tarts, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's more butter tarts. Maybe she makes them. Thank you, Kitty Kelly. She also brought me a Mountain Dew to melt my teeth off. And a little bag with some apples, oranges, cookies, some licorice pieces by the looks of it. Oh boy. So thank you to Kitty Kelly. That is awfully sweet. But I wish that people didn't think that they needed to reach out and to help me. Like, I don't need anything. I'm doing perfectly fine. And I'm sure that there are lots of people in this community that are struggling and who can't afford food. So I tried to explain to her, but that's okay. Good morning, you guys. Excuse my list. I still have my retainers in, but I just woke up. We went to go see a Broadway-style review show last night with the Brockville Operatic Society. It was wonderful. I'm just outside of a Walmart right now and about to go get on with my day. But first, let's go find some coffee. Does anybody have a good sunscreen recommendation that doesn't burn the shit out of your eyes? I swear my eyes always feel like they're burning with battery acid in them, even when I apply sunscreen, like super carefully, like not even going anywhere over this entire area of my face. Still, it ends up being in my eyes, burning the shit out of them every day. Hey guys, so it is wildly sunny out. Absolutely gorgeous, stunning. Love it, love it. I am just pulling up to Canadian Tire here. I've been looking for some butane all week. I can't find any. Walmart hasn't had any stocked, especially the Coleman brand. They had some other brand that doesn't fit my stove, but that's not gonna work. And then I've also been looking for Phillips one blade replacements. That is my razor. I've been looking for replacement cartridges for it for weeks, months actually, I guess. Yeah, it would be more like months. I've been checking Shoppers Drug Mart. I've been looking at every store that sells pharmaceuticals. They don't have it at Superstore. They don't have it at Loblaws. They don't have it at Walmart. So I'm not sure where to find those. I can't find them online either, but I haven't checked this Canadian Tire before, so I'm gonna go check in there right now, and hopefully they have everything that I need, because I'm tired of checking Walmart for the same thing every day and not finding anything. So gonna go take a look in there, so come with me. I also still need to find a replacement oil cap from, I don't know if you guys watched the vlog where I looked to go check my oil and they didn't replace the cap when I got my oil changed. So maybe they'll have that here too. Alright, so I am back down at Centene Park on the St. Lawrence River. So essentially I stopped at that Canadian Tire and I was heading to the door and the guy was like, hey, we're just closing, come on in and grab whatever you need. And I was like, what time do you close? He was like 6. It was 5:59. I was like, no, it's not. It's okay, it's not that pressing at all. So I said that I would head back a different day. But essentially I'm looking for butane because I can only find one store in this entire town that has like the skinny little butanes that are like this size for my stove, and I can't find them anywhere. And I only found one place that has them, and that was PV Mart, and they are just selling them individually for $7.99 each, which is way too expensive for me. So I've been hoping to find them restocked at Walmart or find them at Canadian Tire or something. But today I am just out at Centene right now, just enjoying a little walk along the river before I go do some editing for the day. I've got to say that the one downside of doing van life or any kind of nomadic life in a smaller community is that no matter where you go, there are always people staring. There's somebody watching me at all times. I have Kitty Kelly coming and donating stuff at my van because she thinks that I'm struggling and homeless, even though she won't take my word for it that I'm fully independent and sustainable myself. I appreciate that, but it's like she doesn't even care to hear the actual story, or that I'm living in my van by choice and that nobody's kicked me to the curb and that I'm not starving and that I have my own money for groceries and everything. But that's what van life is like in a small town. No matter where you go, there's somebody staring at you wondering what the heck is that person doing and why are they not like the rest of us. This is a nice little dock here at St. Lawrence Park. I've loved this spot since I first came to go to college in this town. Look at that water dancing. The sun dancing off the water. How magical. So I just realized there's these little blue, I thought there was just one, but they're literally everywhere. I didn't know there was any kind of crab in these waters. I don't know if there's like some kind of blue crayfish or small blue lobster, because that's the only blue things I've seen before. Or some kind of crab. Maybe the seagulls are pulling them out of the water and eating them here. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that around here. This is not ocean water, it's a river. It's the St. Lawrence River. Well, it is another absolutely gorgeous sunny day. I'm just down at St. Lawrence Park right now. I've been doing some research for my other channel and doing some recording as well. It's scalding hot in my van, but I'm loving it. Can't complain about the heat because it's still been pretty cold at night. I'm gonna take a little work break and have a salad. I got myself a Caesar salad kit. This is by Fresh Attitude. It was like $4 at Walmart, so that's lunch for today. Looks like that. You just got some romaine lettuce. Croutons, Parmesan, and some Caesar dressing. So there's lunch. Let's dig in. Look how sunny it is. The sun is just setting on another glorious, beautiful day, so I'm just gonna go head for a little walk. Alright, so this general area behind me, there's tons, like probably hundreds of squirrels that live here, and I feed them all the time. And last night I was parked here editing a video, and I heard a blood-curdling scream, and I was like, is that a person? And then I look up and I see a bunch of raccoons prancing out of the trees, like the Grinch. So I'm like, okay, what's happening here? And I looked it up, and it turns out that raccoons will go into the trees and literally rob the squirrels, like eat the squirrels. I'm like, raccoons don't seem so cute anymore. I seem to have found an alternate path that goes straight down to the water. But I think that is about it for this tiny little vlog. I'm just going to head down for a little walk down by the water, and then I'm just gonna go back to the van, edit this baby up, and upload her to the channel. So I hope you guys all had a wonderful week, and I hope you enjoy the vlog. Catch you in the next one. But quickly before we go, I just wanted to say a special thank you to Robin Garvin Mack and Laura Johnston. They are my first 2 official patrons. So if you are interested in supporting me and my van life journey, you can check me out on Patreon. I will leave it down in the description box below. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.